Hello there, wise, wonderful women, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Peppies. This is your place to be uplifted and inspired and to remember that you are enough, just exactly as you are, really. My name is Jane Mines of Wise, Wonderful Woman, and today's theme is I love you, but I love me more. It was a tough week here a couple weeks ago. Just a little backstory. We had our last 4 remaining horses euthanized all in one day. And it was really hard. It was a really, really hard week. And we did it I did it because, not so much because of the care of the horses that was a challenge, it was everything that goes along with them. It was all of the fencing that needed to be replaced. And it was land management, lots of land management here, which requires getting in the tractor and doing a lot of cutting down of trees and cutting brush and cutting weeds. And physically, that has just gotten so very hard for me. I have a couple of varieties of injuries, one of which is in my right shoulder, and it was just hard. It was hard thinking about doing all of this work. And our horses were old. They ranged from 19 to 25, and they had a variety of different health issues. And so this was a very painful and a very hard decision. And I have lived the hobby lifestyle for about 22 years. So I've had a variety of different animals, cattle, pigs, as you can hear, chickens, variety of different animals. And I have only ever euthanized an animal based on their needs and on their time frame. This is the first time ever in my life that I based this large of a decision to euthanize animals based on my needs and on my time frame. And so it was a very big deal, and it was a very painful deal. And what I noticed was probably a good 2 to 3 days afterwards was that my body really hurt. And it felt like a combination of stretching to the point of breaking mixed with some a little bit of glass underneath and a jagged energy. It was very painful underneath. And I sat with it, and what really clicked for me was that what was so hard for my body to assimilate was that I had put myself first. I loved my horses dearly. I love them dearly. And it was, I love you, but I love me more. And the need to take care of myself. And so my body was having a hard time with such a dramatic decision to put myself first. And that's why today's theme is I love you, but I love me more. And the struggle that we women have, frequently I hear this from myself, my colleagues, friends, clients that I work with, how hard it is for women, and not that men don't struggle with it, but I know the nuances of how hard it is for us women to put ourselves first. What is putting ourselves first all about, really? It's about knowing our self-worth. That's what it's about. So that we can go out and about in our life making decisions that are healthy for us based on what we want, what we need, and what we know is in our best interest, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. And it's having that unequivocal confidence in ourselves that we are worth making choices that benefit ourselves. I think that it's scary. it's vulnerable. We feel vulnerable when we do that. Many of us, we simply weren't taught this level of self-esteem, this level of self-worth to put ourselves first. And I think we often lack role models, and we still have this societal norm, I think, whether covert or overt, that as women we're supposed to be givers, and we're supposed to be fed by that and nourished by that, and of course we want to put others first, and that we would go second. And I just think that that is enormously taxing on us women, and particularly for those of us that come into midlife, where our brain chemistry is actually changing due to menopause, and that other focused brain chemistry changes to being self-focused. And that is not the same thing as being self-absorbed or narcissistic or selfish. There is a focus on ourselves because we no longer have that brain chemistry of having babies and taking care of babies, right? So this can be a challenge for women, for us to put ourselves first, and to put ourselves first without explaining why or defending. I hear that a lot. And the putting of ourselves first, but then we give justifications or reasons why. And what's really hard is to say no thank you to something or someone without having to prove why it is we have the right to say no thank you. That can be hard for us women. So what I practiced during this very painful, physically painful, emotionally painful, mentally painful time was I stayed with the discomfort. I wanted to run from it, wanted to have a couple glasses of wine, but I just stayed with the discomfort, and I just kept breathing through it and being present to it, and that was challenging enough, but I stayed with that experience. And then I stayed on my side about the decision I had made, because sure as shooting, an enormous hole of shame opened up about all the wrong decisions I made and what I could have done. And I opted not to do that to myself. And that would have been easy to do, to have swan dove right down into that rabbit hole of shame. And I chose not to do that to myself. So I stayed with my decision and I reviewed it. This is why. Because my body can't do the physical things that are required of this lifestyle that can go along with having horses. And then I stayed, what else did I stay with? I stayed with that practice of being on my side and feeling my self-worth. I kept reminding myself of my self-worth. And also staying with this as a practice in daily life of honoring my needs and taking care of myself well. And what that does for me anyways is it helps the practice of taking care of myself and putting myself first. It's less foreign. It feels less weird and horrible, and it gets a little more comfortable. So I could not have followed through with as enormous of an event as euthanizing 4 horses in one day whom I dearly loved, without having practiced putting myself first before. This was like the PhD level. And so my invitation to you is to notice on a daily basis, are you putting yourself first in that healthy way? I'm always talking about this in that healthy way. Are you caring for yourself? Are you making decisions for you that you know in your gut and in your intuition are right for you? And can you stay with the discomfort sometimes, that gnarly feeling that can happen in the body when we do that? And stay with your decision. Sometimes we can abort those decisions and want to be, no, I take that back. I'm not going to put myself first. No, I'll put you first. Staying with that decision, and then keeping that as a practice so that it becomes more second nature to you. Okay, I hope that this was helpful to you. I certainly felt vulnerable in sharing this with you, and so I hope that it helped you. All right, thanks for being here, and I'll see you again on the next Sunday Peppy episode. All right, take care and be kind to yourself. Bye-bye.